The Secretary has said he's got time for a couple of questions. So if you've got a question, please raise your hand. Our microphones will come to you. Jeff Schott, if you'll wait, please.
Jeffrey Schott with the Peterson Institute for International Economics, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for a very clear and convincing case for the porous FTA. I think you've explained very well how solving beef is a prerequisite for congressional action, but it seems to me that much of the opposition in the Congress is based on concerns about the competitiveness of the U.S. auto industry, which will not be solved by exporting more cars to Korea, but will have to be dealt with reforms at home. As the Secretary of Commerce, that is an area of your responsibility, and I wondered if you could share some ideas that you might have on how we can improve the competitiveness of the U.S. auto industry and therefore perhaps assuage the concerns that have led some members of Congress to oppose this agreement.
Sure. Well, let me say that the Department of Commerce is responsible for a lot of things, but we don't design new cars here in Washington, but our role, and the President's been very clear, is to create an environment so that companies can compete. An environment of low taxes, of low regulations, an environment that opens up markets so that companies can export, so that they can innovate, and that includes a series of policies that strengthen U.S. competitiveness. On the Korea agreement, as it refers to the automotive sector, I know that there have been concerns, there's been discussion about the agreement. I will say this, it is a lot better than the status quo. And what I would say to the auto industry is that it is a very significant step forward. And as you say, and I think your point is an important one, is that what we do is create an environment so that companies can compete. And we believe that competition is important, but at some point, the U.S. government is not in the business of competing, or is not in the business of specific businesses. So we're creating an environment, and we think this FTA is an important environment, an important commitment to that, and it opens up the market for more U.S. cars, and I would hope that U.S. industry takes full advantage of it. Thank you.
Wait for the microphone, please.
Thank you. Excuse my hoarse voice. My name is Jay Kim. I'm a congressman from California, former congressman. And I understand that there's a organized labor movement against this passage of FTA agreement. The gentleman mentioned about the automobile issue is one of them. And also there's a new administration we have now in Korea. And do you see any specific signal from them that they'd like to expedite this FTA agreement, which is going to be much more cooperative than before? How do you see it?
The administration in Korea?
Yeah.
I'll tell you the signals that we're getting, and obviously the State Department and the embassy are very close to this, but we've seen a great level of political will in Korea. From the previous administration, from the incoming administration, and recognition that this is a very strategic agreement, that this is good for Korea, that it is good for the U.S., that it is good for Korea's standing in the region. So my perception is that there's been strong leadership and very strong political will on the part of Korean leadership, and I want to recognize that because it's been very active and very visible.
If I can just ask Richard for the last question. I know the Secretary's got a very tight schedule.
Yes, thank you for coming here and giving us a great speech on Korea's FTA. You mentioned there are 3 FTAs right now pending, and it seems like we're running out of time. Obviously, if the new administration comes in, the chances of passing this chorus FTA is very slim. So what is your timeline for passing all 3 FTAs?
Yeah, and first of all, it's a great point, and what we don't want to do is let the clock run out. And these agreements are too important, and you're absolutely right, time is critical. We don't have the timetable because that is controlled by Congress. What we can do is continue to push and press for a timetable that gets the 3 agreements this year and frankly gets them as soon as possible. Here's the irony, is that right now, one of the most robust parts of our economy is exports. In fact, the addition to GDP growth of net exports is greater than the loss coming from the housing correction. So right now is a good time to support exports, and what better way of supporting exports than having these 3 free trade agreements come through? Because it's actually a very important part of our economy today. So we're hoping that Congress hears that they understand that. We're working very hard to ensure that we get it into the legislative agenda, because this is the time to do it. This is the year to do it, and there's no reason to delay it. So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a terrific day celebrating Korean-American Day, capping this off with a very clear address by Secretary of Commerce Gutierrez. As we conclude today, I want to